If you're waiting on your money, pay close attention because this is huge. Social Security, SSI, SSDI, and VA payments are hitting bank accounts right now, and thousands of Americans are already seeing their deposits come through today. But here's what most people don't know, and what could make a massive difference in your finances. Whether you're relying on retirement benefits, disability payments, or veteran compensation, understanding exactly when your payment arrives can help you avoid late fees, plan your budget better, and eliminate that stressful waiting game we all hate. And trust me, after today's video, you'll never be confused about your payment schedule again. Now I know what you're thinking. I thought my payment comes on a different day? Well, here's the thing. The payment schedule isn't random. There's actually a specific system that determines exactly when your money drops, and I'm going to break down everything you need to know in the next few minutes. We're covering which exact groups are getting paid today, why the dates change month to month, what to do if your payment is delayed, and the critical mistakes that could actually hold up your money without you even realizing it. Plus, I've got insider tips on how to track your payment in real time so you're never left wondering where your money is. But that's not all. I'm also revealing a little-known fact about payment schedules that could help you get your money faster in certain situations. This is information that benefits offices don't typically advertise, but it could literally put money in your pocket sooner. And if you're new to any of these programs or helping a family member navigate them, stick around because I'm making this super simple to understand. No confusing jargon, just straight facts you can actually use. So before we dive into the exact payment schedule and all these money-saving tips, do me a quick favor, smash that like button right now. It helps more people find this critical information, and trust me, they need it just as much as you do. Let's get into it. All right, let's get right into the details because if you're watching this video, chances are you or someone you care about is counting on one of these payments to cover essential expenses. And I want to make absolutely sure you have all the information you need to understand not just when your money is coming, but why it's coming when it does, and what you can do if something goes wrong. So first things first, let's talk about what's actually happening today. Right now, as I'm recording this, the Social Security Administration and the Department of Veterans Affairs are processing millions of payments that are being deposited directly into bank accounts across the entire country. We're talking about Social Security retirement benefits, Supplemental Security Income, which is SSI, Social Security Disability Insurance, which is SSDI, and VA compensation and pension payments. These are lifelines for millions of Americans, and understanding the system behind these payments is absolutely crucial for your financial planning. Now, here's something that confuses a lot of people, and I see questions about this constantly in the comments. Not everyone gets their payment on the same day. I know that sounds obvious when I say it out loud, but the actual system behind when you get paid is more complex than most people realize. The Social Security Administration uses what's called a staggered payment schedule, and it's based on your birth date. Yes, your birthday actually determines when your Social Security check hits your account each month. Let me explain exactly how this works, because once you understand it, you'll be able to plan your entire month around it. If you were born between the 1st and the 10th of any month, your payment typically arrives on the 2nd Wednesday of each month. If your birthday falls between the 11th and the 20th, you're getting paid on the 3rd Wednesday. And if you were born between the 21st and the 31st, your money comes on the 4th Wednesday of the month. But here's where it gets interesting, and this is something a lot of people don't realize. If you started receiving benefits before May of 1997, or if you're receiving both Social Security and SSI, you actually get paid on the 3rd of every month regardless of your birth date. That's a completely different schedule, and it's one of those quirks in the system that can really throw people off if they don't know about it. Now let's talk about SSI specifically, because this program operates on its own timeline. Supplemental Security Income payments always go out on the 1st of the month. Always. It's that simple. But here's the catch that trips people up every single time. If the 1st of the month falls on a weekend or a federal holiday, the payment gets moved to the last business day of the previous month. So if you're sitting there on the 1st thinking your SSI payment is late, you might have actually already received it a day or two earlier. This happens more often than you'd think, and it causes so much unnecessary stress for people who are already dealing with tight budgets. The VA operates on yet another schedule, and this is important for all our veterans out there. VA compensation and pension payments typically arrive on the 1st business day of each month. The VA is actually pretty consistent about this, and they're usually one of the first agencies to get payments out. Veterans can usually count on seeing their deposits right at the beginning of the month, which honestly makes budgeting a little bit easier compared to the staggered Social Security schedule. But now let me tell you about something that almost nobody talks about, and this is where things get really interesting. There are circumstances where your payment date can actually change, and if you don't know why, it can cause major panic. Let me walk you through some of these situations so you're never caught off guard. First, if there's a federal holiday that falls on your scheduled payment date, the payment will arrive on the business day before the holiday. The government doesn't process payments on holidays, so they move everything up. This is actually a good thing because you get your money earlier, but if you're not expecting it, you might think something went wrong with your regular schedule. Another thing that can affect your payment timing is when you first apply for benefits. When you're initially approved, your first payment might not follow the regular schedule. It can take a few weeks or even a couple of months for everything to get processed and for you to enter the regular payment cycle. During this transition period, don't panic if your payment doesn't arrive exactly when you calculated it should based on your birth date. It takes time for the system to catch up, and your subsequent payments will fall into the regular pattern. Now let's talk about something that stresses people out more than almost anything else, and that's when a payment doesn't show up when you expect it. I get comments about this all the time, and I want to walk you through exactly what to do if you find yourself in this situation. First, and I cannot stress this enough, wait at least 3 business days past your expected payment date before you start panicking. I know that's hard when you're counting on that money, but the reality is that sometimes there are minor delays in the banking system. Your payment might have left the government's account but hasn't quite hit yours yet. Banks have different processing times, and while most direct deposits are instant, occasionally there are hiccups. If 3 business days have passed and you still don't have your payment, that's when you need to start taking action. The first thing you should do is check your bank account online or call your bank directly. Make absolutely sure the payment hasn't arrived and you just missed the notification somehow. I know that sounds silly, but it happens more often than you'd think. People check one account when the payment went to another, or they look at the wrong balance, or a million other small mix-ups that are easy to make when you're stressed about money. If you've confirmed with your bank that the payment definitely hasn't arrived, your next step is to contact the Social Security Administration or the VA, depending on which benefit you're waiting for. For Social Security, you can call their national number, but I'm going to be honest with you, the wait times can be brutal. You might be on hold for an hour or more, so make sure you call when you have time and maybe have something to do while you wait. When you finally get through to someone, have your Social Security number ready and be prepared to verify your identity. They'll be able to look up your payment status and tell you exactly when it was sent and where it was sent to. Here's something really important that I want to make sure everyone understands. If your payment was sent to the wrong bank account, that's usually because the Social Security Administration or the VA has outdated information on file. This happens a lot when people change banks and forget to update their direct deposit information. If you've recently switched banks, you need to notify the agency immediately. Don't wait for a payment to go missing before you update your information. You can change your direct deposit information online through your My Social Security account, or you can do it by phone, or even in person at a Social Security office if you prefer that personal touch. Speaking of updating information, let me talk about one of the biggest mistakes I see people make, and it costs them time and money every single time. If you move and don't update your address with Social Security or the VA, you're setting yourself up for major problems. Even if you have direct deposit and you think your address doesn't matter because the money goes straight to your bank, your address is still critically important. The agencies send important notices to your address on file, including notifications about payment changes, cost of living adjustments, required documentation, and potential issues with your benefits. If you're not getting those notices because they're going to an old address, you could miss critical deadlines or important information that affects your payments. Now, let me share something with you that a lot of people don't realize, and this is especially important if you're new to receiving these benefits. Your payment amount can change from month to month, and there are several reasons why this might happen. The most common reason is the annual cost of living adjustment, which usually happens in January. The government calculates inflation and adjusts Social Security payments accordingly to help benefits keep pace with rising costs. When this happens, you'll see a slightly higher payment amount, and you should receive a notice explaining the change. But there are other reasons your payment might change too. If you're receiving SSDI and you start working part-time, your benefits might be adjusted based on your earnings. If you're receiving SSI, any change in your income or resources can affect your payment amount. The system is designed to be responsive to your financial situation, which is good, but it also means you need to report changes promptly to avoid overpayments that you might have to pay back later. Let me talk about overpayments for a second because this is something that terrifies people, and rightfully so. An overpayment happens when the Social Security Administration or the VA pays you more than you're entitled to receive. This can happen for all sorts of reasons. Maybe there was an error in calculating your benefits, or maybe your financial situation changed and you didn't report it quickly enough, or maybe you received a lump sum payment that you weren't supposed to get. Whatever the reason, if you receive an overpayment notice, don't ignore it. I know it's scary and you might want to pretend it's not happening, but ignoring it will only make things worse. The government will eventually recoup that money, either by reducing your future payments or through other collection methods. If you receive an overpayment notice, you have the right to appeal it if you believe it's incorrect, and you can also request a waiver or a payment plan if you can't afford to pay it back all at once. Here's something else that's really important, and I wish more people knew about this. You can actually track your Social Security payments online through your My Social Security account. If you don't have one of these accounts yet, you need to set one up today. It's free, it's secure, and it gives you access to so much important information. You can see your payment history, verify when your next payment is scheduled, update your direct deposit information, get your tax documents, and even estimate your future benefits. It's an incredibly useful tool, and setting it up takes maybe 10 or 15 minutes. Just go to the Social Security Administration's website and follow the prompts to create your account. You'll need to verify your identity, which involves answering some questions about your credit history, but once you're set up, you have 24/7 access to your benefit information. For veterans, the VA has a similar online system where you can check your payment information, and I highly recommend setting that up as well if you're receiving VA benefits. The more you can manage your benefits online, the less time you'll spend on hold with customer service representatives, and the more control you'll have over your financial information. Now let me address something that I see causing confusion all the time, and that's the difference between Social Security retirement benefits, SSDI, and SSI. A lot of people use these terms interchangeably, but they're actually three completely different programs with different eligibility requirements and different payment schedules. Social Security retirement benefits are what you earn by working and paying Social Security taxes throughout your career. When you reach retirement age, you can claim these benefits based on your work history. SSDI, or Social Security Disability Insurance, is for people who have worked and paid into Social Security but can no longer work due to a disability. You have to have enough work credits to qualify for SSDI, and the amount you receive is based on your earnings history, just like retirement benefits. SSI, on the other hand, is a needs-based program for people with limited income and resources who are elderly, blind, or disabled. You don't need to have a work history to qualify for SSI, but you do need to meet strict financial requirements. Understanding which program you're in is crucial because it determines your payment schedule, your payment amount, and what you need to do to maintain your eligibility. Let me also talk about something that affects a lot of people but doesn't get discussed nearly enough, and that's what happens to your benefits if you go into a hospital or a nursing home. The rules around this can be really complicated, and they're different depending on which type of benefit you're receiving. Generally speaking, if you're receiving Social Security retirement or SSDI and you go into a hospital, your benefits continue without interruption. But if you're receiving SSI and you're in a hospital or other institution for more than 30 days, your benefits will stop after that 30-day period. They'll resume once you're discharged, but there will be that gap in payment. For people in nursing homes, the rules are even more complex and depend on who's paying for the nursing home care. If Medicaid is paying, your SSI benefits might be reduced significantly, and you might only receive a small personal needs allowance. These are the kinds of details that can really catch people off guard if they're not prepared, so if you're facing a hospital stay or nursing home placement, make sure you talk to a Social Security representative about how it will affect your benefits. I also want to touch on something that affects a lot of families, and that's survivor benefits. If you're receiving benefits based on a deceased spouse's work record, your payment schedule follows the same birth date rules I mentioned earlier. But here's something important. If you're eligible for benefits on your own record and also eligible for survivor benefits, you might be able to switch between them strategically to maximize your lifetime benefits. This is a complex decision that involves a lot of factors like your age, your own benefit amount, and when you claim, so it's worth talking to a Social Security advisor or financial planner about your specific situation. All right, we're coming up on the end here, and I want to leave you with some final thoughts and action steps. If you're currently receiving any of these benefits, make sure your contact information is up to date, set up your online account if you haven't already, and familiarize yourself with your payment schedule so you always know when to expect your money. If you're waiting for your first payment after being approved, be patient but proactive. If it's been longer than you expected, don't hesitate to reach out and ask questions. And if you're helping a family member navigate these systems, thank you for being there for them. These programs can be confusing and overwhelming, and having someone to help makes all the difference. Remember, these benefits exist to support you, and you have every right to understand how they work and when you'll receive them. Don't ever feel bad about asking questions or seeking clarification. That's what these agencies are there for, even if the customer service experience isn't always smooth. Stay informed, stay organized, and you'll be in the best possible position to manage your benefits effectively. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.